Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My dear children, this is the continuity of unit number 14. In today's lesson, we are going to discuss about pollination. Pollination is the deposition of a mature pollen of a flower on the stigma of a flower of the same species. That means the pollen coming and the stigma both should belong to the same species. For an example, a mango plant's pollen, if it reaches a coconut plant stigma, we don't call it pollination. Okay, if mango plant's pollen reaches mango flower's stigma, that can be called pollination. If coconut plant's pollen reaches coconut flowers stigma, that can be called pollination. You can see in this diagram the pollens are moving to the stigma. Pollens are made in the androsium or anther and they are transferred to the stigma. They go and stick to the stigma, and that is what we call by the name pollination. In the pollination, there are two types of pollination. One we call self-pollination, other one we call cross-pollination. If the pollen of a flower reaches the flower's own stigma, the flower has a stigma, its own stigma, then we call it self-pollination. You have to draw this diagram. Okay. If the pollen made by a flower reaches the stigma of another flower, that another flower can stay in the same plant or can belong to another plant. That doesn't matter. If it is going to another flower, then it is also coming under cross-pollination. So in cross-pollination, two flowers involved. In self-pollination, one flower only involved. You have to write the definition for self-pollination. You have to write the definition for cross-pollination, and you have to draw the relevant pictures. Okay. Actually, cross-pollination is more favorable. Cross-pollination mix the parental characters. Through that, new characters appear. These new characters are called variations. More and more variations come out mean it is more favorite for evolution. So you have to understand cross-pollination increases variation. Cross-pollination, you can mark that point. I am writing it here. Okay, cross-pollination increases variations while self-pollination decreases variations. So in evolution demands lots of variations. In evolution, cross-pollination is more favorable. Okay. Further, self-pollination bring out unfavorable characters out. Okay. unfavorable characters out, the unwanted characters, not good characters are coming out in self-pollination. So by both of these means, you will understand, okay, cross-pollination is the better choice. Okay, in that case, here the note for you, you can write it down that one. In the plants, there are several adaptations to avoid self-pollination. One of the adaptation is having unisexual flowers. Look at this flower, left side flower. It is a female flower. It has only pistil, only gynoecium, no androecium. See the right side flower. It is having only stamens, only androecium, no gynoecium. So a pollen made here has only to reach the stigma of the other flower. It doesn't have any choice to make a self-pollination. So having unisexual flowers like in corn, like in coconut, okay, is favoring cross-pollination and stopping self-pollination. That is one adaptation. Another adaptation is self-sterility. If in that case, if the pollen is deposited on the flower's own stigma, okay, fruit will not develop, seed will not develop. Okay, actually, what happens is, okay, the pollen is destroyed and further reproduction is stopped. Pollen is destroyed and further reproduction is stopped. So if the reproduction doesn't continue, so seeds or fruits, don't develop. I hope you are clear with it. So the plant that shows passion fruit, that shows self-sterility is passion fruit. It's the one and only example, passion fruit. Okay, and thereafter, another character, hercogamy. If you take hercogamy, the stigma and the the stigma and the anther will be far in position. Okay, it will be like this. If this is the stigma, anther will be like this. So what is the idea? Between these two, there is a greater distance. It can be other way also. There can be taller stamen and a shorter androecium, so gynoecium. Here also what happens? There will be a greater distance. Because the distance is increased, the chance for self-pollination is decreased. This is one method. You have to draw diagrams, keep in the mind. Another thing it is having extrose stamens. In extrose stamens, if this is the flower, if this is the stigma, drawing using what's it? Mouse is not so easier. Just I am drawing it. Okay. Stamens will be hanging like this. They are called extrose stamens. This is also, they say, decreasing the chance of self-pollination and increasing the chance of cross-pollination. You need to draw diagrams. And finally, it is dichogamy. that is maturation at different time. When stamen matures, pistil will be young in some plants. When pistil matures, stamen will be young in some plants. That kind of situation, that is called dichogamy. Relevant examples are there. I am stopping the discussion at this point. Inshallah, tomorrow I will continue the discussion on agents of pollination. Good luck. Goodbye.